yesterday showed why he could be a number one wide receiver on team.
Ron's one ring in Cleveland over that Golden State Warriors team has more weight than any ring that Michael Jordan won.
Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob Ent Podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. Happy New Year's Eve to y'all that watch it tonight. Happy New Year's to those that watch it in 2024. Fellas, how y'all doing?
Doing good. Ready for the new year.
Same here, bro. Same here. Excited to get out 2023.
Now, before we start the show, make sure that y'all rate, review, subscribe, leave us a 5-star. We're trying to take this podcast far. We mentioned we're looking forward to 2024. Another person that definitely is looking forward to 2024 is none other than Let's Ride Russell Wilson. Looking forward to probably being on a different team. What is y'all takeaway on the whole Russell Wilson situation? For those that don't know that are tuning in, Russell Wilson has been benched. Despite of him playing improved, despite of him playing better, they benched him. They wanted him to change his contract, which had guaranteed money in it. And when he decided not to change his contract, they told him 2 months ago that they would bench him because he did not succumb to their demands.
Sean Payton's an animal. I mean, I think that's the way that's just the way I look at it. Honestly, I mean, from the Nathaniel Hackett comments he made about that being the worst coaching job he's ever seen in his entire NFL lifetime, to then this situation here, Russell Wilson, it's just been the perfect storm. You know, yelling at him on the sideline, treating him like he's a rookie when he's won a Super Bowl in this league. I haven't always been the biggest Russell Wilson fan. I haven't always thought he was the most genuine person. But there's one thing I know for sure: the guy's a professional. He comes to work every day, does what he has to do, and he didn't deserve this kind of treatment, and by any means, especially when he took that team on a winning streak when the season looked dead, a quarter of the way through, and they go ahead and they win, I don't know, 4 or 5 games, however many games it was. And the craziest part is they approached him about the injury guarantees and waiving that after the Chiefs win. And when he refused, then they let him win a couple more games before, finally pulling the plug on him, right? And they're still in playoff contention. They pulled the plug on him now. So this becomes an issue now where it's, okay, the NFL has to get involved because the integrity of the game is getting hurt. And I think they won't. And I know they won't, because the issue we always talk about the NFL is that the guys who perpetrate this kind of nonsense and, start like the Pattons, the owners of the Broncos can't. What are you going to do? Like they own this thing, right? They are 1/32 of a group of owners that will can control this thing and make sure they don't get touched, because you're the commissioner. You employ the commissioner. You sign that guy's checks. So it's really hard for him to come down on them in this situation, even though this merits that. Because again, right. What kind of precedent are we setting here? The guy isn't in a situation where he's playing so badly and the team isn't winning. No, because of his play as well as the defense picking it up, they were in a situation where they can make the playoffs, and that didn't matter to them more than saving a couple dollars, because they didn't feel like he was worth their investment anymore, even though they signed that contract. It should be binding for not just the player, but for the team too. But of course, the NFL owners play by their own rules. They play dirty, and it's just a nasty game we witness here, and it happens all the time in football. And I don't know when people are going to get tired of it. I don't know when the players are going to get tired of it, because until the players get tired of it, that's when things will change. But if you're going to just sit there and continue to take nonsense from these owners, then we're going to find ourselves in situations like this all the time, where owners can do whatever they want, back out of contracts, and do backhand stuff like this. And again, Sean Payton's a guy that no one should want to play for. He got money, and you're just seeing who he is. Money has a way of doing that. Money will make you more of what you already were when you didn't have it, right? So clearly he's a bad person. He was involved in Bounty Gate. He's running up the score on teams for years in New Orleans with Drew Brees. I never saw him come crazy at Drew Brees ever, and Drew Brees didn't always play well. I never saw that, right? Like Ryan Clark said, he's lucky he got the right one. You got the right one, because I think in some situations with certain players, like if this was Cam Newton or something like that, they may have gotten in. You might have heard about an altercation. Cam Newton might have been strangling him like he strangled Norman. You might see a meme of him strangling Sean Payton in the locker room, and he'd have been justified in doing so. That you're disrespecting him as a man. And it seems to be a common theme in sports. These head coaches getting over their head, over their skis, and acting like animals. Once they get a little power, they feel like they don't have to be liked by the people around them. And you do. It matters that people around you like you, and you'll find out the hard way because the tables always turn.
Yeah, and I think with this whole situation now, you got to look at it like everybody can kind of see how you're treating Russell Wilson, and a guy who's not playing terribly. Like, he had a rough year last year. We'll give him that. And could be coaching, could be change of scenery. But, like, this year he's turned it around and he's played pretty good. Like, if you compare his numbers to other quarterbacks in the NFL, he's right up there. He's going to have another 30-touchdown season this year. Pretty good numbers. But now for free agents, because he's going to be a free agent next year, you're going to have to bring in guys to, fill some of these holes. And I don't know. I think some of the guys in the NFL, they all talk. It's a fraternity. So they see what's going on. They see how he's been being treated on the sideline, where he's berating him in front of the coaching staff and teammates after a bad pass. And it's not like Russell Wilson's a 2-year rookie guy. He's like been in the league. He's won a Super Bowl. He's pretty established in the league. So I feel like there should be a little more respect given. And, yeah, I think they're going to have some trouble bringing in guys in free agency because they're not going to play that. Like, these defensive guys that they need to bring in to help improve the defense, or offensive guys that they need to help improve the offense, they're going to see this and they're like, I could go somewhere else. Like, Denver is not really – it's not Miami. I could go to Miami and enjoy myself down there, and it's a chill vibe, but it seems too stressful in Denver with Sean Payton.
Yep.
Now, looking at it with Russell Wilson, it's obvious he's not going to be in a Broncos jersey after this season. What teams, or what do you think, what team would be a good fit for Russ? We've seen everybody from the Falcons. We've seen a bunch of different teams come up, but which team would actually be the best fit for him, where they'll actually appreciate what Russ got left in the tank?
I like the Steelers, honestly. I mean, go over there with Mike Tomlin. I think he'll definitely get a little more respect over there. And they've got pieces. They've got running backs. They've got receivers. They're working on the offensive line, and that defense has always been solid. So I think for a team that's looking to win now, I mean, they're in the playoff hunt with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph running things over there. And I think they could do a lot better with Russell Wilson, if I have to be frank. So, yeah, that's the team that I think should have him at the highest point of their list in free agency, because he's going to be a free agent, and he'll probably come at a discount because he's still going to be getting some money from Denver. So we'll see.
Yeah, I was thinking Falcons or Steelers too. I was trying to figure out, my dad, where he would fit best after all this nonsense. But, it's a weird situation because a lot of these teams have moved to younger quarterbacks. A team like Titans would have made sense a year ago, but now they have Will Levis and they're going to ride it out with him, rightfully so. So I think a team like the Falcons or a team like the Steelers make a lot of sense. And the Falcons will be too low to pick a quarterback and won't be able to trade up. They'll be locked out because they're picking too far down the draft order. They won too many games this year. And so they'll be a team that's in position to go after a quarterback. I mean, Lord knows they passed up on trying to go after Lamar Jackson and gave that ridiculous excuse that Art DeBlanc made after the fact. So within all that dysfunction, they can certainly take a try and go get Russell Wilson. He can't be any worse than Desmond Ridder. We know he's better than Desmond Ridder. We know that. And I think that he has some good football left in him in the tank. Clearly, he's still a pretty good player. He's not the same. Clearly, he's not elite anymore, but he's a good quarterback that can help you win football games. You can win 7, 8, 9 games, maybe one year he gets hot 10 with him. And so I think a team like them can give them an opportunity with a pretty decent line, Drake London, those guys to go out there and play good football. But the Steelers could desperately use his services as well, because Lord knows they're not going to be in position to pick a quarterback. They're winning right now against Seattle, and if they win that game, I mean, just pushes them further down the draft order. So I think the Steelers should give him a call for sure, and Mike Tomlin should beg, send him a pair of black Air Forces to come down there.
Now we're at this week. We already saw some of the early games. For those that's watching this right now, it's 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. So the first select of games already happened. The Ravens, huge game, 56-19 against the Dolphins. They have clinched the number one AFC seed. Are y'all believers? Is the Ravens the favorite in the AFC to actually make it to the Super Bowl?
Oh, for sure. I think they're kind of battle tested at this point. They've beaten some teams that are up there in both conferences. They beat the 49ers, they beat the Lions. Now they've beaten the Dolphins. I think they beat the Bills too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or did the Bills beat them?
I think they beat the Bills. I think they did. They haven't lost many games.
No, they haven't lost that many games, and Lamar is playing fantastic. Like, this is probably the best I've seen him passing wise, and he looks comfortable back there. I think early on they had to get used to this new offense, and things are really rolling right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the domination of the 49ers was like the coming out party, I feel like. Obviously, they've been great all year, but that game told you everything you need to know about them. They're peaking at the right time. They've been really good and steady throughout the year, but they're peaking at the right time. And yeah, they did beat the Bills, but they're peaking at the right time, the Ravens. And so when you look at that roster, there's not a hole in sight. You know, they've got receivers now, and Lamar is also grown as a passer, just making great decisions, but also throwing to all parts of the field, which I think was a big problem he had early in his career. So I think he's going to be able to exploit defenses, and when you add his legs to the mix, what he can do on the ground, it's just really hard to stop him. They got a great running game. They got a great running back who fell off of a tree somewhere. We didn't even know who he was, and he's going out there and playing well. What's his name? Keaton something. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But
Mitchell.
What is it?
Keaton Mitchell, I think.
Keaton Mitchell. Yeah, and he's been really good. So it's just a culmination of all those things. They're a great football team, and the defense is phenomenal. You know, they played Tyreek Hill today, and you would think Tyreek Hill didn't play. It wouldn't surprise me if someone said Tyreek Hill didn't play because he didn't affect the game, which is insane, you know, for a guy that fast and have an impact in a game like that. So their defense is night and day from where it was a year ago, and I think they have a real good chance to get out this AFC, and Lamar can do something special here. I'd love to see Lamar win a championship. I think it would hit different for everybody if he could pull it off. So I'm very excited about them. They're the team I'm rooting for, but they certainly got every single component you need to be a championship team. There's no reason not to believe in them. And the AFC is already weak enough as it is. You know, I don't believe in the Bills, even though the Bills can get hot. I don't believe in them really, and we certainly don't believe in the Chiefs. They look like they're dead. All that Taylor Swift stuff called to them, I guess. So here we are.
Yeah, to your point, Tyreek Hill, 6 catches for 76 yards, but on 12 targets.
Right.
Dolphins couldn't get it going today. I think it's safe to say we've all been of the same belief that the Dolphins weren't a team to believe in to actually win in the AFC. It was just nice story, pretty explosive offense as usual for the last couple of years. But when it came down to it, Dolphins were going to win. And that wasn't nobody's pick to win no Super Bowl outside of shout out to For Fun Show on IG, but ain't nobody was picking them. Anybody else, that is. In the NFC, though, how y'all see the NFC panning out? The 49ers have clinched the number 1 seed. The former number 2 seed, the Eagles, lose a big game to the Cardinals today. They dropped down to the 5th seed, I believe.
Wow.
The Cowboys now are the 2nd seed, and the Eagles, they're the 5th seed, so they don't get a home game at all, depending on the matchups. But the first round, they don't even get a home game. The Cowboys get the home game. How y'all see the NFC going? We saw the 49ers lose pretty badly to the Ravens. How you see the NFC panning out?
I have to get a look at the standings to know for sure, but I think it's all pretty close, right? I think the Eagles are still in the mix, and if they can win the game against the Giants next week, and they can take care of business, then they'll be in position to jump back up. And the Cowboys lose, right? But the Cowboys, I think they're playing Washington, so it's a guaranteed win. Washington's not even trying to hide it; they don't want to win football games, and they're doing the right thing. Good for them. But yeah, I think when you look at the Eagles and where they stand right now, they have an opportunity to get back to a reasonable position and maybe play a home game if they can take care of business next week. And there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to. They've owned the Giants, so there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to. But we'll see. I think as far as everything else, it's just been pretty tight. The Lions are still kind of in a mix. I think it's a big cluster of teams kind of with the same record. So it's going to be a frenzy next week, and everybody's going to have to play. No one's really going to be resting besides the 49ers as they kind of jockey for position. So we'll see how it all pans out. No, it's not really a real answer to your question, but it's right. Yeah, exactly. The Lions sitting here at 11-5 and the Cowboys at 11-5. There's a lot that can happen. One of them loses, the other team jumps the other one. So no one's resting next week besides the 49ers, and it's going to be crazy to watch how it all pans out.
Yeah, the Cowboys hold the tiebreaker over Detroit based on the head-to-head win percentage. So it's between really Dallas, Detroit, and Philly to get that second and third seed. Basically, whoever loses, they're going to be on the outside looking in regards to the top 4 seeds, obviously. Tampa Bay gets that 4th seed. If they win the division, they have the tiebreaker over the Saints.
Wow. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to watch and see how it all pans out next week. I mean, a lot of great games. Miles, I didn't mean to cut you off if I did.
No, you good. What was I going to say? I think the team to beat is San Fran. That's obvious. I don't really see the Lions that much of a threat to anybody in the NFC playoffs. And funny enough, I'm hoping that the Rams end up playing the Lions in the first round in the wild card part. Because I think that's a team that could knock them off pretty, not easily, but that's a team that they're battle tested. Like they've got guys who were on the team that made it to the Super Bowl, and you've got Stafford, and that's like I said before, that's a team that's a sleeper moving forward. But San Fran, they're clearly the best team in that side of the NFL. I think maybe the Cowboys are their best threat right now because I think the Eagles are kind of slowly falling off, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And I saw somewhere Devontae Smith left the game on crutches, so that's another blow that they're going to have to deal with. That hurts, and this loss hurts even more because they controlled their destiny for the division, and they would have had a home game in the playoffs. But losing to the Cardinals, it just shows how far they've fallen.
Yeah, and when the season started, I said that the losing the 2 linebackers was going to matter, and that seems to be a big part of their issue because that's exposed their cornerbacks who aren't that good. I knew Bradbury wasn't very good. I knew that because he was a Giant. He was not very good here. Give up a ton of big plays, but occasionally get an interception, which is what he does there. He's the same player he was here that he is there and with the Eagles. So those 2 linebackers and their inability to stop the run and run from sideline to sideline, and the way they were so fast, sideline to sideline, and they were great. They're great at tackling short of the sticks and keeping things in front of them. It really affects them because those corners are out in the open. They're naked and they're getting exposed. They're naked. No one likes what they see, and they're not models.
Now the season is ending, like we already discussed. With basically in the next week, we're gonna give our predictions for awards. Offensive Player of the Year. Who is y'all Offensive Player of the Year?
I'm gonna say McCaffrey. I mean, he's clearly the best running back in the NFL, and he's what makes that team go. I think he's just as big a part of them being 12-3. What is it, 13-3, as Purdy is. I mean, without him, I think there's a lot more on Purdy's shoulders. But yeah, McCaffrey leading the league in touchdowns. I think it's an easy call.
I agree. I'm not going to argue against McCaffrey. There's no debate to be had against McCaffrey being Offensive Player of the Year. Because if he doesn't win MVP, at least he has that. Because he could easily win MVP. But he won't because Lamar will win. So, yeah, give him Offensive Player of the Year.
Well, because it's a quarterback award. It's not a,
Yeah, right.
You have to rush for 2,500 yards to win MVP.
They already give the MVP to Brock Purdy. So clearly it's a quarterback award. It's an award designated for quarterbacks because while we had this discussion on here, I know Chris Unfortunately couldn't be with us today. And he came out and said we shouldn't diminish what he does because he plays for the 49ers. He didn't want to hear that. But that's exactly what we're going to do because, if the situation was any worse at all over there, and clearly it didn't go well against the Ravens. They exposed some flaws with that team. It didn't look good. He couldn't rise up above the situation and lead those guys to a victory and make plays. He couldn't do it. So it's just funny how it works. Chris is not here to defend himself, so I won't kick him in when he's not here. But it's just that he's been very spoiled to be in a situation that he's in. There's a few quarterbacks in the NFL who I can make that case about. All right, and I won't get in. While we're here, I'll get into it. I guess Tua is one of them. I think Jalen Hurts is another one, in my opinion. I do think Jalen Hurts also is a beneficiary of being in a great situation. I'm not saying he wouldn't be good somewhere else, but I do think he's a beneficiary. Dak's earned my respect a bit more, actually, with his play. I do think he'd be good for just about most teams in the league. I'm not saying Hurts wouldn't be good, by the way. I'm just saying, like, I have to see it. I have my questions. But they put up 31 points today. He's not the reason they lost. So there's also that. He's a good player. He's a good player. But Tua, for sure, is in this conversation. That's all I'm going to say. You throw the ball 2 miles an hour, it's going to affect you.
Defensive player of the year. Who y'all got? Right now, Vegas has Myles Garrett as the lead-on favorite.
Him or TJ Watt? Watt's been great. Him or TJ Watt. Those are the two guys I would think about. Or who's the guy from the guy from the Cowboys got exposed. What's his name? The guy
Michael Parsons?
Not him. Warner.
Deron Bland.
Deron Bland. Yeah, and that's why I forgot his name. His name's Bland. But yeah, I mean, he was getting pick sixes left and right. And the second that stopped happening, the Cowboys started to struggle a little bit. So and teams started throwing at him. I don't remember who they played, but they were just throwing at him over and over again. It just didn't stop. Teams just got the book on him. Like, he can't actually cover in space. We just gonna throw the ball right at him every time. So that's been interesting to see and how fast that changed. But he had a chance to win DPOY. I think it's either TJ Bland. Look, see, TJ Watt or Myles Garrett. I'll go Myles Garrett. That Browns defense is incredible. Big part of the reason why they are where they are.
Yeah, I'll probably say Myles Garrett too.
Myles, does that hit differently that y'all decided not to bring in Joe Flacco and he's over here doing a darn thing for the Browns?
No, not really, because I don't think he wouldn't be doing this. I mean, he was here last year and it was the same thing. He was running for his life. We were throwing it 60 times a game and we were losing. So it's a tale of two cities.
I actually totally agree with that. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. I just, had to throw that in there because X and on Threads, you got stupid Jets fans talking about we should have brought in Flacco, but we didn't sign him because of A-Rod. Only part of that was true is that y'all didn't sign him because of A-Rod, but y'all shouldn't have brought him in.
All right.
No, there was no reason to. I mean, I guess they wanted to see one last time if their number 2 quarterback was worth salvaging, and now we know it's not a thing. Like, he's not going to be here next year. So, but yeah, bringing in Flacco, that would have just been the front office admitting that they were wrong on Zach, which we know they were, but also that they messed up not bringing in a veteran backup in the offseason to back up Rodgers just in case. Like, they put all their eggs in Rodgers' basket, and I think they assumed because most of the years, I mean, he's stayed healthy. This is probably like his first real major injury of his career. So, of course, karma, or not karma. It's ironic that it happens with us, but yeah, maybe Joe Flacco would have helped a little bit, maybe one more game, but he's old. He's not meant to be running for his life every game, which, I mean, even against the Jets, he looked really good. So,
do you think they're going to beat the Patriots next week?
I really don't care, but
I know you don't care. No, well, you should want them to lose as a smart fan.
Yeah, I want them to lose. I mean, I don't want. All right,
the Pats
I root for them to win every Sunday, but in the back of my head, I'm like, it wouldn't be the worst thing to lose to them. Like, we should have lost to Washington last week. I was like, what are we doing? And then all of a sudden they started coming back, and I'm like, low key, just like, let's go, Washington. Yeah, like, yeah, they need to lose so we can at least get a higher pick in the draft. And I mean, Rodgers said he'll be here for a couple years, so they're not going to take a quarterback. That's kind of a given at this point. So it's going to be either receiver or O-line. And I'm leaning towards, depending on the tackle that's there, like if Alt is there, the kid from Penn State, I think Marvin Harrison's he's going to drop at some point with the run on quarterbacks and tackles and all that stuff. So
not too far.
Not too far, because the Cardinals, they've got 2 top 5 picks, and I could see them using one of them on him.
Yeah.
Which they should do if they're going to keep Kyler Murray.
They should keep Kyler Murray.
They should. And I think they are. I mean, that contract's not really tradable as is. Like, it's not as bad as Deshaun, but it's not.
You don't beat the Eagles in a row with a bad quarterback. You just don't do it. He can clearly play. I don't know. I didn't watch the game. So I can't say he was
good.
But I'm sure he never looks bad. He never looks bad. You know, I mean, and Justin Fields looked great today too. But I mean, he threw the ball. They actually let him throw it in snow. They let him throw the ball around. He made some plays. You know, he's gonna run. You know, that's the black QB special. So he was doing plenty of that. But I'll be interested to see if they keep him too, because I told Tone last week they tell you by the way they call plays that they're going to get rid of him, and they run the ball a ton and they're very conservative. But I'll be very interested to see if they keep him there, because the Bears are just they're just stupid enough to do something that you just don't expect. I'm really interested to see what they do there, because that'll be a big thing. Imagine that number 1 pick goes up for sale. Oh my God.
They should. I mean, but that's the thing. You think about the financial aspect of it, and like Fields look good at times and then look shaky at other times. And what, you're going to pay him $35?
Yeah, that's nothing.
You're going to pay him $35 million a year and then trade off that pick?
I feel like that's nothing in today's NFL. The Daniel Jones contract everyone makes a big deal about is nothing. He'll be out of it in a year. Just mirror that contract. That's all. And if anything, Fields has been more productive than Daniel Jones. You have to pay him a little bit more. So, you know,
I get it. But that's the thing. If you pass on this guy and Caleb Williams ends up going to a terrible team and turns them around, and all of a sudden it's like,
we look terrible.
We had our chance. We had the number 1 pick. We have Fields, who they can honestly trade to one of these teams that need a quarterback. Like they've got picks to build around. Like Ryan Pace has done a decent job over in Chicago with kind of setting them up nicely for their
He's made some boneheaded moves too.
He's made some bonehead moves. He traded for Montez Sweat. That was a good move.
He traded for Claypool.
I mean, yeah, that was the one knock that I'll give him. But everything else he's done has been pretty solid.
Imagine how many picks they have in the future. They trade back out of this pit, and they set up. They set, because Justin Fields is more talented than Brock Purdy. Where I look at it, you have a chance to build a San Francisco-esque team.
But is he more talented than Caleb Williams?
No. And so I mean, look, he's talented, Justin Fields, though. No, arm talent, no. But I mean, the boy can run. He run like he run like he's trying to get away from something.
Yes, but all right, that's the thing. If you want to set up the team nicely, you bring in the rookie quarterback who you think is ready to lead this team. They already got their number 1 with DJ Moore. You trade Fields. Now you build around Caleb Williams. You don't have to pay him for 4 or 5 years down the road. That's the thing. You don't have to sink. It's not a sunken cost paying Caleb Williams compared to what you have to pay Justin Fields right now.
No, you are talking. Me personally, I would draft Caleb Williams, trade Justin Fields. I would do it. I would do it. There's no debate. But
he's not making it easy. He's not making it easy.
He's not making it easy. And you know what? He's going to beat the Packers next week. They have a terrible defense. He's going to throw for like 400 yards. He's going to run for 200. He's going to put a Jaden Daniels game on him. And
This is just making it easier for them to get a better pick if they do trade him. Because then it's like, all right, you do have a really good starting quarterback here. If you're desperate, give us a second or give us a first.
I don't think anyone, and that's the thing. That's fool's gold. I do think in the right system, though, Justin Fields could revive his career and have a really good career. He's talented enough. I think with the right quarterback coach who can teach him the right way to play, process defense, he has a good chance. I do believe that.
I did see somewhere that the Jets were interested in trading for him to be the backup for Rodgers next year. Which
that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Actually, it would be pretty proactive. Yeah.
It would be funny because we could have drafted him in the first place.
Right.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, safe to say, C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, no question. He made it fun again. He made football in Houston fun again. He got down there buzzing.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Witherspoon from what's it called? From the Seahawks, the corner.
Devin Witherspoon.
I that's what I thought, but there's probably Miles. You might have him else in mind, and I don't know.
I mean, I got to look at how Jalen's been doing in Philly, but early on he was dominating. He was a dominant tackle. So until I look at the stats, I'm going to say him.
Based on what the team performance has been, I'm he may not be as dominant. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with Witherspoon then.
Who y'all got for Coach of the Year? Right now, Vegas has the leading favorite is Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I would say Dan Campbell.
I got DeMeco Ryans. If they get in, I got DeMeco Ryans. Done more or less. Dan Campbell did what he was supposed to do.
In Detroit?
I mean, yeah, but yeah. And if he wins, fine. If he wins, fine. Don't get me wrong.
They should be 12-4 right now. They should be
yeah.
If not for that game the other night, and that's the thing. He has the confidence in Jared Goff, which is crazy to have confidence in Jared Goff to go for a 2 when you worked your way back into the game. And I love his coaching style. I think more coaches should be aggressive like that. More coaches should, put confidence in the players like that. But yeah, DeMeco Ryans, that's not a bad choice. Like first year head coach, he's got them in the playoff hunt. They're 9-7 now, so I wouldn't be mad at either.
Either one.
MVP. I think everybody on the same page with that. Lamar for the MVP.
Lamar sealed it today. It's over. He sealed it.
It's funny though because when we talk about the MVP, and it seems to be like a week-to-week thing where you have a down game, all of a sudden, I don't know about you anymore. Like Hurts, he was in the running, they lost. It's like, all right, it's got to be Purdy. Then Purdy has a down game. It's like, it's got to be Lamar, right? It's got to be Lamar. And I was waiting for the Ravens to lose today to the Dolphins and Tua to have a good game. And they'd be like, Tua has a good – he should be in the combo for MVP. I'd be like, yo, why does it change every week? Like in the NFL, I mean, in NBA, it doesn't do this. Like, sure, there'll be times where you have a front runner the whole season, and then all of a sudden, like last year, Jokic was the favorite, and then all of a sudden, Embiid slowly gained traction, but then he did win it. Same with NBA, same with MLB. Like Shohei, he was the leader the whole season. There was nobody stopping him. But that's a different comparison because there's nobody like Shohei. But in the NFL, it seems to be like if you have a 2-touchdown, 2 or 3 interception game, your team loses, the other guy throws 4 touchdowns, all of a sudden the media is not talking to you anymore. They're like, oh, that guy over there, that we got to talk to him. So it's funny with the whole MVP debates and the sports shows. I think it comes down to like all the sports shows that we have, the sports talk shows where it's something to talk about. Like there's times where there's not much to talk about after a week of football or weekend of NBA where nothing's really going on. So they have to debate on who's the better player, who's going to win MVP this year, who's my guy. Because it's funny how Shannon Sharp did about face a couple weeks ago when he was talking about Purdy, when earlier in the year he was saying how this guy's a system quarterback. He's not that good after he had that 3-game stretch after he had the concussion. So
I think both things can be true. And he said that. He was like, didn't he say Rich Gannon? This example kept using Rich Gannon won MVP. So, I mean, it's not like it's unprecedented for a guy who's not that good to win MVP because he had a good season. I think he said that. And he's right. And the situation with Purdy and Hurts, I mean, look, while you're right, they flip-flop a lot in the national media and the way people talk about these MVP races. But at the end of the day, Yo, we can't say you can't tell me that those guys didn't play their way out of MVP at the same time. And you can't get benched on national TV in the biggest game of the year with Purdy. You got benched with an opportunity to still kind of be in the game, and they didn't trust you anymore. 4 interceptions is insane.
He didn't get benched. He got hurt.
Oh, is that what happened? He got hurt? I just looked up and he was out of the game.
No, he got a stinger.
No, they stung his ass to the bench. He was hurt. He was done. He was done in that game. No, but if he got hurt, okay, cool. I mean, we can respect that. Either way, it was a terrible game. It was a bad optic, if you're trying to win MVP. And Jalen Hurts, they've struggled. They've just struggled. And he hasn't played that well at the end of the day either. He's been okay. He has not played great. So no, Lamar's earned it. I think Lamar's the guy. It won't switch. And Miles, we won't be having a different conversation in a week. He's gonna win it. It's over.
No, because he settled it. I mean, he blew out the Dolphins. He blew out the 49ers. He's blown out teams that are everybody's quote-unquote favorites to win. Like earlier in the year when the Dolphins put up 70, they're like, oh, this offense is rolling. They put up 20 against the Ravens. Like, that's a good team.
Right. And
Lamar's a good quarterback. So I think, it took them some time. I think they figured it out passing-wise. But, I don't think it's going to switch. There's nothing – I mean, week 18, this is going to be the worst week of football probably because you got guys who aren't going to play or they'll play a little bit and then they'll sit them. So there's nothing Lamar can do to lose it unless he goes out and throws 4 picks. But, that won't happen.
He shouldn't – did it clinch it, the 1 seed in the AFC?
It
did.
He did.
Oh, he's not playing. He's not playing.
Yeah, they clinched and the 49ers clinched. So the number 1 seeds is locked up in both divisions. Obviously, we are not going to do comeback player of the year because that's a joke of an award because everybody's talking about DeMar Hamlin's going to win it. And we know he shouldn't win that award at all. But, I mean, hey, if you die and you come back, I guess you automatically get all the awards and you get all the commercials and all the clothing lines and all that good stuff. Before we close out, the Knicks made a trade, first big trade of the season. What's your thoughts on the trade now that it's been a day completely done? RJ is back in Canada in his hometown. Precious Achua, Malachi Flynn, and OG Anunoby are Knicks now, along with IQ is no longer with the Knicks. He is over in Canada with Drizzy Drake. What's y'all takeaways from the trade?
As a Knicks fan, I like IQ, I like RJ. I've been rocking with them for years. But it gets to a point where I was telling somebody the other day, I root for the players, yes, but I'm a Knicks fan first. So whatever they got to do to make the team better, so be it. I could still root for these players on other teams, but when they play the Knicks, it's different. So I like the move for Anunoby. If you looked at our roster, they had RJ basically playing the 3, and he's a 6'6". He's undersized for that position. And defensively, he was kind of a liability as it came down to it. So, for a guy like Tibbs, that's always going to be an issue. If you're not playing defense, I guess you get shipped out of here. But you bring in OG, really good defender. I think when you look at it, you got all the wings out there. You got Tatum. You've got maybe Middleton out there in the East. There's other guys I'm not remembering, but you put him on those guys, and it's a tougher night than it was before, where I think they were having Grimes playing defense on Tatum or RJ, and it's basically a turnstile on defense. So I'm not mad at the trade. I'm just hoping and anticipating what the next move is. And I think this does set us up nicely because we didn't really trade much. Granted, IQ, that's the one that hurts the most because he is a starting caliber point guard, I think. But when you have Jalen Brunson, there's only room for one. And it was always going to get to this point. So, and I don't think they were ever going to pay him $30 million a year to be a 6-man or maybe play an undersized 2. So But yeah, we didn't trade much. We traded IQ, RJ, and a second-round pick. We've still got a boatload of first-round picks to trade for a top-notch guy.
The way you were defending RJ Barrett, you didn't trade much. All the time I said he was ass on the podcast. I don't know if I can say that. All the time I said what I said about him on the podcast.
Yo,
and now I told you to ship that man out of here years ago. I said it was a botch pick. You guys should have on Garland, and it was a botch pick, third overall. He clearly wasn't. He clearly wasn't deserving of being the third overall pick in that class. I had been saying it to dudes in Duke. I kept telling y'all over and over again. I just wasn't a fan of his game for all the reasons I said. Right? We can go over the list. We can go over the list again. Right? He only dribbles in a straight line. He doesn't change direction very well. Right? He's pretty stiff off the dribble, which is a big deal. Right? I mean, what? An okay shooter, spot up. He's a good player. He's okay. He just everything. There was nothing he did great. He's not a great defender. He's not a great offensive player. There's nothing he does at an elite level, and he's the third overall pick in that class. And he's not one of those guys that's good enough at everything all around to not where it doesn't have to matter that he's not elite at one thing. Does that make sense? He's not a jack of all trades type of guy. Like he's not Paolo Banchero, where you're not great at one thing, but you're good at everything. You're really good at it. You're good at everything. So you're a really good player and you're physical and you've got a build that's going to allow you to be a star in the NBA. He's not that kind of guy. I kept saying that for the longest time. People said I was crazy. Knicks fans kept defending him. And now he's gotten traded and you didn't trade much. That's crazy. And by the way, he was throwing. They said, y'all want quickly, right? Okay, let me just take him too. Take him too. We'll send him. It's all right. No, don't even worry about it. Well, Malachi Flint is cool. All right, cool, whatever. Take him. As long as you take him, we good. It cleared the cap. That's all they did with him. They just shipped him out of here for nothing. Because quickly was ahead of that deal.
We didn't ship him out for nothing. Because look what we got. We got OG Anunoby, who's going to be a solid player, really solid.
You would have got OG. You could have thrown Grimes in the deal and gotten that deal done.
No, we couldn't have.
Not because of money, but I'm saying they would have on a value basis. They probably would have valued because Grimes hasn't played great this year, but he can play. He can go somewhere else to play.
We're gonna see him play now. Now that he has time, he's got space, and he's not stuck with guys in front of him that are kind of blocking him. So I think that's what helps us out too. Now we finally got a wing defender on this defense, which is going to help us improve our defense. I like the addition of Precious. I think last year he was playing pretty good before they traded for Podol, whatever his name is. So yeah, I think these are good additions to this team. And I think it'll open things up for Jalen Brunson because he is a better shooter than IQ and RJ from three. So
Anunoby?
Yeah.
You need more volume from Quickly, though. Quickly is a really good shooter.
He's a streaky shooter.
You're gonna see. He's gonna look real. He's gonna be streaking to the All-Star game in a couple of years. Just watch.
I hope so. I love that kid, but that's the thing. When you gotta make decisions. We weren't gonna pay IQ.
That's fine. That's fine. You guys could have been. I thought you guys could have been a little more patient with that trade. When you're gonna throw trade Quickly away because this trade doesn't.
It was getting out of hand. Guys are not what.
It was getting out of hand. How y'all were winning? Y'all were doing what you did last year. You guys could have been patient. It wouldn't have made it. I feel. Look, here's where I look at it. Here's the way I look at this trade.
We can't trade them in restricted. We can't trade them in restricted free agency. So a trade was going to have to happen during the season.
Before February. That's what I'm saying. Get till February. That's what I'm saying. And here's how I look at it. There's a few major points. One, I was right about RJ Barrett the entire time. I was right.
Yeah, get over it. I
was right. No. I was right. I'm gonna hang on the rim here. Pause. That's what I'm gonna do because there's no way that you could tell me after what they just traded him for and that deal he was in. Get over it is crazy. Get over it is wild, right? There's no way you can include him in that trade there and get nothing of real substantial value in return for him and tell me that he was worth something. They just got him up out of town. They say, we're over it. We know he's not going to be a star. You know what he is, So there's that. Also, I thought I was a bit impatient, but I also understand the move from the Knicks' perspective. If they could make another move behind this, they still have assets, then it could look good. You have to pay that guy Anunoby, and he wants a more expanded offensive role. So that's another problem because I don't know what he has off the dribble. I don't like he's a 3-and-D guy. That's what he is. He's a 3-and-D guy. It's not like you're getting Mikal Bridges in a trade. You know what I mean? Like that's the level of 3-and-D guy we're talking about.
And that's the thing, though. You never know because when he was in Toronto, who was ahead of him? They had Pascal, who's taking up all the shots before.
And when Fred was there, Fred was there.
And then they had Fred. And then they drafted Scotty Barnes, who they started to groom, and they wanted to, make him the guy. This year they made him the guy. So that kind of pushed OG out of the way.
But if he was as good as he thinks he is, and we often overestimate ourselves,
bro. So you don't have to sacrifice. You don't have to sacrifice. If the coach,
I'm saying that Scotty has to wait his turn. Then if he's as good as the coach would be like, yo, wait,
Scotty's better than him.
No, if Tone, hear what I'm saying. If OG had everything he thinks he got, if OG had a bag that we don't know about, he gonna go there and be Kyrie, right? If he had that bag, then they would say, "Yo, Scotty, it's not your turn yet. Let's put him in pick and roll situations. Let's have him run the ball down the floor a little bit. Get the offense organized. Let's see what he can do on the ball." That never happened. It never happened there
because look what they did. They made Pascal run point forward for a while, and then who took the role this year? Scotty Barnes. He's been doing that all year this year, and he's putting up good numbers: 20, 10, and 6. So
who's that? 20, 10, and 6. That's Pascal.
No, that's Scotty. But Pascal's numbers look good too. And yeah, those guys, Pascal's been an all-star, 2-time all-star. Scotty's probably going to be an all-star at some point soon. Like, there was they've been dangling OG in trade rumors for the last couple of years. Clearly, why? What do you mean why? Because they already got their 2 guys. They're not going to expand on his role if they're not going to pay him.
Maybe they see that the best role for him is what they had him in, and they didn't want to pay him $40 million for that role. They couldn't pay him $40 million. As a rebuilding team, he didn't fit the timeline, and that's fine. He can go to the Knicks and be exactly who he was and be effective. And you guys be a slightly.
We don't know what he's going to be yet. That's the best part of it. We don't know.
Who is he taking the ball from? Randall or not Brunson, and certainly not Randall. Randall will headbutt that. Randall type of dude headbutt you for the basketball. So I don't know who he's taking the ball from over there. He's not going to be on the ball. He's not.
Well, I appreciate you seeing the future, Raven Simone, but like this is not.
We can project
what his role is going to be. Like we traded some pieces. He's going to be the third option right now.
You would like to have the people believe that he's going to come here and become a star, have a resurgence in his career.
He doesn't have to be a star. What? I mean,
he's going to be
a star in your role. Is Derek White a star? No, but he's a really good player.
I'm saying, is his role going to expand because he wanted $40 million. He said he want to take a discount for the Knicks. He did say that. The discount, okay, $39.8 million. That's a discount. So what if you're paying him that much money?
He's not getting much money, and you know it. You just know it.
I know
that at this point.
I know he don't deserve the money. That
much. At this point, but I'll let you finish.
I know you don't deserve that much. In all seriousness, though, like for real, because we got to move on. It's not a bad trade if they can re-sign him for a reasonable number, and if they can make another move behind this because they need another move. They made this trade, but they still don't have a guy who can lead you to a championship. They don't have the guy in the program.
That's on the way, though.
Who is it?
That's my favorite question. It's when, not who.
It's not. Yeah, they're not trading. You guys will sniff around with the Mitchell situation. That's fine. I know that. You guys are going to sniff, but you guys are more likely to go after the kid Murray. And so even then, you don't have
a lot cheaper. He'd be a lot cheaper too.
That's fine. I know that, but it still leaves you with the hole because Randall's not. That's not the Randall trade. You're not trading Randall.
No, you'd be trading Grimes, maybe Fournier, and some picks for Murray. Which I don't hate that trade. A starting lineup of Brunson, Murray, OG, Randall, and then
team. That's a very good team. That's a good team. It's a top of the East team. If they run into that buzzsaw, if the Bucks ever figure out how to play some defense, it could be a problem, And Celtics they're a problem. So you don't beat the Celtics with that roster, though. I don't know if you do. OG gonna give Tatum hell. Tatum wake up out of bed and decides every other day he's gonna play hard.
Yeah. So that's why we made the move because we need somebody who can D guys like that in the East. They were struggling with that. Tatum could get what he wants. Jaylen Brown, same thing. So we got the pieces. We got pieces all around.
Yeah, you're gonna see. You're gonna see. If you had to guess with this roster as they're currently standing pat, they don't make another move. This is what it is the rest of the year. How far do they go? Where do they go, in your opinion?
With this roster set in stone, I mean, more guys are going to get opportunities now with IQ and RJ out. So
You're trying to give me a sales pitch. I asked him a simple question.
I'm not trying to give a sales pitch. We can make it same as we did last year. We can make it to the second round.
Yeah, you see, then you made my point. Okay, there needs to be another move. There needs to be another move, and I think it's coming. By the way, I do think they'll be aggressive. We'll see.
And that's the thing. This is not like 2K. You can't just sim to the moment when you're going to make that move. Like it could take years. It could take maybe a couple months until February where a move is made. But like you can't rush it, because then if you do rush it, then that's where you make a Carmelo trade where you give up most of your youth for a guy who might have signed in free agency. So
fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. We're going to see how long it takes. It's taking years just to get here, to get OG.
we're a respected team now.
You guys are
in the NBA.
You guys are a good team. That's true. There you guys are a respected team in the NBA. That's true. That's a long way from where we were in the past. That's fair. That's fair.
Y'all already know the vibes. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. Bench Mob, we out. Peace.